Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of Bet David Santon, Bet Menorah Pretoria, and Bet David Durban, we welcome you to another Shabbat hybrid service this evening. We're pleased to have congregants in the synagogue as well as online. All congregants in the synagogue are required to keep your masks on, and please remember to sanitize. Should anyone wish to sponsor a Shabbat service to celebrate a simcha or simply to support the congregation, please contact the synagogue office. And tonight the Shabbat candles will be lit by Brenda Resnick.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom again. Just some remarks before we begin. And the theme that I chose this week is closings, which might at first sound very strange. But tonight, we're actually dealing not with one, but with three closings. The first is the closing of the secular week. We rightly think of Shabbat as a new beginning, but how often do we reflect on the week that has just closed? What did that week bring for us? And how did we negotiate its twists and turns? The second closing is to be found in the narrative of the Parsha for the week, Vayechi, which completes or closes the book of Genesis. The opening words of this Parsha means, "and he lived," which is perhaps rather peculiar for a Torah portion that deals so much with death. For, of course, this portion is governed principally by the death of Jacob, although it also mentions the death of Rachel, the burial of the earlier patriarchs and their wives, and finally, the death of Joseph. The third closing that I want to mention is the manner in which the actual Torah portion is written. Now, normally, there's a blank space of 9 letters between the different sections of the Torah. But in this case, there's nothing. Thus, the Parsha can be said to be satum, or closed. Rashi gives 2 reasons for the existence of this closed Parsha. First, he likens it to the closure of the eyes and hearts of the Jewish people. The oppression of the later pharaohs was imminent, and the closing of their eyes and hearts symbolized a descent into a state of despair that occurred with the death of Jacob. Secondly, he references Genesis 49:1 and following, where Jacob says to his sons, "Gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the end of days." But then, instead of disseminating a broad eschatology, Jacob proceeds to issue blessings and admonitions to his children. Thus, says Rashi, the Parsha is closed because although Jacob wished to reveal the end of days to his children, it was closed to him. With the death of Jacob, the patriarchal era is brought to a close or conclusion, and a new generation is about to begin. Parashat Vayechi sums up and rounds off various themes that have circulated throughout the book of Genesis. There's the theme of sibling rivalry, stretching all the way back to Cain and Abel. There's the theme of preferring the younger son over the older, the theme of female rivalry, the motif of the barren woman, and the theme of trickery. The final parsha in Genesis is therefore what we could call a wrap concerning the advent and development of the entire human family. Even more importantly, it charts the growth of mankind's spiritual awareness, culminating in Israel's acknowledgement of a single God. And without more ado, we're going to continue on page 130. Lechuna rananu l'Adonai, naria l'tzu yeshenu, nekadma fanav b'todai, bezmirot naria lo, ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher bayado mechkarei aretz v'toafot harim lo, asher lo hayam v'hu asahu v'yabesh et yadav yetzaru. Bo'u nishtachave v'nichra'a nivracha lifnei Adonai osenu. Ki hu Eloheinu ve'anachnu am marito v'tzon yado hayom im b'kolo tishma'u. Page 131. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol ha'aretz, shiru l'Adonai bachu shemo, basru meyom layom yeshuato. And I'm going to continue on page 132 at the top. Sing to God a new song. Sing to God all the earth. Sing to God, bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For the Eternal One is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the people are mere idols, but the Eternal One made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of the Eternal One, for God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, ki niflaot asa. Sing to God a new song, for you have worked wonders. Your right hand, your holy arm have won you victory. Eternal One, you have shown your victory, displayed your justice in the sight of the nations. You were mindful of your love and faithfulness towards the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Raise a shout to God, all the earth, break into joyous songs of praise. Sing praise to God with the lyre and melodious song. With trumpets and the blast of the horn, raise a shout before God, the ruler. Let the sea and all within it thunder, the world and its inhabitants. Let the rivers clap their hands, the mountains sing joyously together at the presence of the Eternal One. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples with equity. We're going to jump now to page 138 and join the choir in singing Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Peni Shabbat mekabela bela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Peni Shabbat mekabela.
Shabbat is a holy Echad, Ishmianu Elam Yochad, Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad.
L'Shemo Tiferet ve'Litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Peni Shabbat mekabela bela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Peni Shabbat Shabbat nekabela.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, וראש מקדם לסוכה.
סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה כלה, פני שבת נקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, כי באורך ומיורי, אורי, שירה ברי.
כבוד אדוני לך נגלה. דודי לקראת כלה כלה, פני שבת נקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
בואי לשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני אמסרו לה.
בואי חלה, בואי חלה. דודי לקראת כלה כלה, פני שבת נקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נעבר, עלי היגיון בכינון, בכינון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
כי שימחתני
אדוני בפועלך, בפועלך. במעשה ידיך רנן, רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך, מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
איש פעל לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין את זאת. צדיק כתמה יפרח, כארז בלבנון ישגה. שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינבון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו. להגיד כי ישע אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת הבור. אדוני מלאך גאות לבש, לבש אדוני עוז התעזר, אף תיכון תבל בל תימות, נכון כיסך מאז מעולם אתה. נשאו נהרות אדוני, נשאו נהרות כולם, ישאו נהרות דוח ים, מקלות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים, אדיר במרום אדוני, עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נעבד קודש, Adonai לאורך ימים. We turn now to page 144 and the choir will lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish.
We turn now to page 148. Imagine the beauty of the sun setting and the idea of the divine rolling the heavens across the earth, tucking us in, bringing the night and the peace and beauty of rest this Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvarav mariv aravim b'chokhmah potech sharim ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים בממשלותיהם ברקיע כרצונו בורא יום ולילה גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shokveinu u'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ve'avatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. So we're poised to move into the book of Exodus. We can read together on page 157 at the top. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to go from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, פורקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. To the choir for Hashkivenu.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך.
You know, it's so important for us to remember this prayer, this notion that the divine will allow us to come in peace to the evening, that the day is full of the tasks and the work, and the night is an opportunity to take stock of what you've done, to bring yourself to rest, to establish your ritual of eating and being with those you love, and taking care of the things around your home, and bathing and saying your Shema, and going to bed and reading whatever you do, this is really what we ask. We're not asking that the divine save us from the lions. They're kind of up north. Hopefully they're not coming into our homes. We're asking that we be given the chance to really bring ourselves into that fullness of peace that enables us to be satisfied with our day. And so the end of this prayer really kind of brings us to that moment, the Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the Ir Shalom, the city of peace. And that every night, as we say this prayer, we create for ourselves, once again, that city of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. V'shamer b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat. Israel has kept Shabbat, and Shabbat has kept Israel. La'asot et Shabbat l'dorotam, Berit Olam, for it has touched our generations, throughout the ages. Beini uven b'nei Yisrael ohi le'olam. This will always be a sign between the divine and between us, the children of those who struggle with the divine. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et ha'aretz, uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. That on those days of creation, of work, of struggle, we can still look forward to Shabbat and the opportunity to rest. Page 164, please rise as you are able for the Amidah.
Adonai, Sefata tiftachu fi agitei latecha. Adonai, Sefata tiftachu fi agitei latecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu, ve'Elohei Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עושה ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה ראשי ברוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריע השמש ומוריד הטהר, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גיבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. Adonai Mechaye HaKol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy, the all of us, praise you every day. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Kidashta et Yom HaShvi'i l'Shimcha, Techila Ma'aseh Shamayim Va'aretz, Uvechato Mikol Hayamim, V'Kidashto Mikol Hazmanim, V'chen Katuv B'Toratecha. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. O God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us our share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts. V'taher libenu. V'taher libenu. Purify our hearts. Make them pure so that we may do your work in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies your holy name may rest on this day. Praised are you, Adonai. Baruch Ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. To the choir, to purify our hearts in truth.
ותהה ליבנו,
ותהה ליבנו, ותהה ליבנו לעבדך באמת.
ותהה ליבנו,
ותהה ליבנו, ותהה ליבנו לעבדך באמת. דה 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 אוי דה 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 דה
ותהה ליבנו,
ותהה ליבנו, ותהה ליבנו לעבדך באמת.
ותהה ליבנו,
ותהה ליבנו, ותהה ליבנו לעבדך באמת.
Page 174. Say Adonai Eloheinu b'amcha Yisrael, utfilatam be'ahava tikabel. Please take our prayers in love and with the love with which we send them to you. Utye l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael avmecha, el karov l'kol korav. You who are close to all who call upon you, who appear because of our call. V'nei al avodecha v'chanenu, shofech ruchecha aleinu. Pour out the beauty of your spirit upon us. Page 176.
מוני מנה כולם, שתהו אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד.
Masur Chayenu, Mageni Shenu, Atahu Ledor Vador. For generations, you are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation. Nodeh lecha v'nisaper tilatecha, al chayenu hamisurim biyadecha, ve'al nishmotenu hafkudot lecha, ve'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu, ve'al niflotecha v'tuvotecha shebechol et erev boker u'tzarayim. Tov ki lecha l'rachamecha ve'hamrachem ki l'tamu chasadecha me'olam me'olam ki vinu lach me'olam me'olam ki vinu lach. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live, affirm you and praise your name in truth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodo. Grant the plentifulness of your peace to slowly seep across the beauty of our world. Page 178, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam, ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom, v'tov le'necha, levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'tov le'tuv b'choshav, Yishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, havarech et amo
And in that beauty of the peace that we have invoked, let us take a moment of silent meditation. Bring ourselves, as Gail said, fully into this week, to allow the old week its time to pass and to welcome the newness, the beginning of this new creation that begins with our rest and with the meditation of our hearts.
Be
So I don't know if anybody else has tried this, but I discovered when I went online and took the quiz that my Patronus is, hold your breath, an elephant. This made me laugh a tremendous amount, actually, because, I'm fond of elephants. I don't know anybody who doesn't like elephants. But it seems kind of incongruous. I'm not a very big person. I guess I don't move too quickly. I am very tied to my family, so maybe that is part of it. At any rate, that is in fact actually what a Patronus is supposed to be. In Harry Potter, now in case you didn't know what I was talking about, you do. Your Patronus is something that you conjure. It's a spell that you conjure, but it is like an extension of your personality, and it represents that which is hidden and unknown in your personality, but also a part that is necessary, that is an essential bit of who you are. And the time that we encounter the Patronus in Harry Potter is when there is an influx of dementors. Dementors are horrible black things with no souls that feed upon all of the human goodness, your happiness, your joys, your hopes, your desire to live, and they suck all of this from you. And the great thing about the Patronus is it acts as a magen, as a shield between you and in the loss of all of this human identity. And I think actually as people, we understand, and perhaps this is why the Harry Potter books have become so much a part of world culture, is that we understand that possibility of being sucked of the things that mean the most to us, that when we're confronted with rejection and death and complication and difficulties in our work, that we feel dried up and as if somebody has removed some of the joy from our lives. And we're taught in Harry Potter that in order to confront that despair, you need to draw upon resources that you may never have needed before, and that it awakens somehow your secret self. And it is at the moment where you are confronted with the real possibility that you might not be able to manage, that you get that shift, and that suddenly from your wand, but really from your true nature, comes this glowing, brilliant, powerful entity that stands between you and despair, and feeds upon that despair and turns it around into hope and happiness and love and the desire to survive. What we learn in today's Parsha is that sometimes, at least in our tradition, the Patronus is given to one. And that's really what Jacob does in blessing his children. He reminds them of qualities that are within them. And sometimes they're not such nice qualities that he reminds them of. You remember Shimon and Levi, who somewhat deceitfully did away with a lot of the people in Canaan, in Shechem. And he reminds them of this. But he gives each one of his sons an image of what they are, what they can be, and how they can protect themselves from the possibility of despair. And, this is so needed because, first of all, we have, as Gail says, we have this ending, this despair that is going to come with the end of his life. And then, of course, the end of Joseph's life and the eventual movement into slavery. And that we're told that the people had lost everything. The commentators in the early part of Exodus, that cry that they cry to the divine that is heard and that causes the descent into the bush that never burns, is one that is almost an inhuman cry that is the cry of the greatest possible despair. Excuse me. Where they have lost the ability to generate their Patronus, to generate the wolf or the doe, or sorry, I think it's a stag, or the ship, that will carry them from a place of despair into a place where they can see themselves fully and truly and productively become once again part of the community. And so, just as you can take the quiz, I think there are several different locations. Actually, I haven't tried another one. See if I come up with an elephant from a different Patronus engine. That each of these sons must have been surprised by what they took on, but also a little proud. When you look at the things that you have been gifted with that help you to ward off despair, the fortress that you are, the love that you have, the speed at which you can move, whatever qualities you have that you would project into the world in a time of despair, those are really the things that are gifts that not only you use for yourself, but that you share with others. And so, as we look at these 12, really 13, 14 young men, because we have Joseph's children as well who are blessed, and we see the whole complexity of the human condition. The one who comes in joy back to his father's arms, but who protects his brother by never telling his brothers by never telling the story of how he got there. The one who pleads in mercy before the unknown king and whose prayers are answered in a way he never expects. All of the things that we do to both protect ourselves and to protect our relationship with others are encompassed in this story, this ending, and this beginning. Because, of course, once you have put your own protective self into the world, the self that is your truest and yet perhaps most unknown quality, then you do drive away despair for yourself and for others. And that leads us to the cohesion, to the possibility of coming together again, of parading as the brothers did in unity back to the land where so much strife and division had occurred, and to be able to open up a place in that land and to leave behind the past, to cover it with reverence, and to return home to build together a great nation. Not a nation that will be without trouble, as we know, and as we will explore, but a great nation nonetheless, a nation whose ships and whose lions have lasted for centuries, and of course, are with us still. And so, take the Patronus test, don't take the Patronus test, think about how you might project yourself into the world to inactivate despair, to empower yourself, to bring others to see their own gifts, and enjoy the peace just for one Shabbat of not quite yet. You need to conjure that up. Allow this joy to permeate your being so that what you bring in this coming week is ever stronger and brings more light into the world. Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 122. And 9 in the morning, by me, always a great time to make sure that you have your glass of wine at hand. Sorry, we're going to start, we said by Yechulu earlier, so we're going to start on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchi lanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tefila l'mikrahei kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim. Ki eleinu kavata ve'otanu kidashta la'avodatecha ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Chaim tovim u'metukim, to a sweet and wonderful life. We turn now to the Aleichem on page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה. השמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמה, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום תשב אותה לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים עמך, ועל הארץ מתחתנו עוד.
At the bottom, Eternal God, we face tomorrow with hope made stronger by the vision of your realm, a world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate are gone. Teach us more and more to share the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, to pursue the blessing of peace. Help us, O God, to gain victory over evil, to bring nearer the day when all the world shall truly be one. We continue now on page 593, reading number 3. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades or is extinguished. Its substance is consumed and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we must not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. We continue on page 597. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season and years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. And this evening we remember Herbert David Schrager, father of Phyllis Seligman, Glyn Schrager, brother of Phyllis Seligman, Eliav Telem, father of Molly Smith and grandfather of Brendan Smith, Faye Fanny Frieda Yates, mother of Jeffrey Yates, Dolly Jankelowitz, mother of Mike Jankelowitz, Sharon Cohen, remembered by Ruth, Greg, and Janice Jordan, Dolph de Loloy, father of Carolyn Smolin, Doris Berman, mother of Melanie Bailey, Jeannie Klippen, mother of Ron Klippen, David Schmidt, father of Brenda Resnick and husband of Naomi Schmidt. From Bet de Menorah in Pretoria, we remember Susie Karp, mother-in-law of Merle Karp. From Bet David in Durban, we remember Rosa Schmarman, Jack Silver, father of Terry Silver, Carol Stewart, sister of Bitty Walker, Leopold Leyden, Jacqueline Levine, Barbara Dodo, sister of Merrick Rubin, and those who passed away recently, Leslie Kroll, husband of Beverly and father of Karen, Jody, and Darren Kroll, John Abro, brother of Lynn Raffaeli and partner of Lorraine Edel. Zichronon Livracha, may their memories be for blessing. And please join with me on page 598 with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'oma divrach urutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mavarach le'olam u'lomei maya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ah v'yit romam v'yit naseh. V'yit hada v'yit haleh v'yit halal Shmei dekodsha b'richu. Le'elam in ko bechata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran bo'uma v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh Shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. Thank you to congregants who attended and participated in the service this evening. On behalf of the ground staff, we'd like to express thanks to the congregants who made donations to the support staff appeal. A total of 2,530 rand was collected. As you're all aware, the fourth wave of COVID infections is upon us. This new variant is highly transmissible. All progressive synagogues now have a strict vaccine mandate, as has Bet David. Only vaccinated congregants are permitted to attend in-person services. We request that congregants in the synagogue leave the building immediately after the service to avoid close contact with one another. The management committee has taken the decision to keep the synagogue open to congregants. Therefore, Shabbat services will run as usual during this month of December. Please remember to sanitize and sit at least 1.5 meters from other congregants, and all post-service berachot have unfortunately been put on hold for the present. Services will continue to be streamed live via YouTube. Our Shabbat service tomorrow morning will start as usual at 10 a.m. And once again, the service will have a hybrid format. Some congregants in the synagogue, while the service will be streamed as well via the usual YouTube link. Please note, the Bet David office will be closed from the 24th of December until Monday, the 3rd of January, 2022. In case of emergencies, please call the office number and your call will be redirected to a staff member who will assist you. We conclude the service with the singing of Shalom Aleichem on page 627. We wish congregants a peaceful and safe summer holiday. Shabbat Shalom. And finally, Hamotzi, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And we go to Rabbi Elisheva for our final blessing.
Thank you so much, Gail. I'm so sad that I'm not able to be there to share that beautiful looking challah with everyone. And I so appreciate that we are all being careful about our hands and our faces and our proximity to one another, and that we can send out waves of love from our hearts to each other, even though we can't hug each other yet. God willing, soon. And so let us bless one another. Yivarechem Adonai v'yishmerechem. May we all find guardianship and goodness. Ya'er Adonai panav elechem v'chunekem. May we be able to lift our faces to others and share our joy with them. May we receive joy in return. Yisa Adonai panav elechem v'yasem lachem shalom. May peace permeate our world. May we have respite from all those things that give us trial, from viruses and war and poverty. May we join hands throughout the world with all humankind, with all of the nature that surrounds us, and may we together create a world that is full of light and joy and peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Umvorach, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Umvorach, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom.